Hello everyone, today we're going to begin 6.5, which is dividing polynomials, and we're going to be using long division to divide. And so we will be taking a look at how to divide using long division and how that is related to polynomials. So let's begin by reviewing the dividing using long division method, the good old way from that you learned in elementary school. So to review, the number that is inside the long division sign is the dividend, the number outside is the divisor, and then the answer is called the quotient. And if there is any leftovers, that's called the remainder. So those are the parts, and those are not going to change. There's two ways to write your answer. You're going to write as a quotient plus remainder over divisor, or as the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. So either one is okay. So there's two ways to write your answers. And here are the steps for dividing the polynomial using long division. And these are the same steps, if anything, but it applies to polynomials now. So same steps as what we did in elementary school. First step is to write the dividend in standard form. Okay, everyone knows what standard form means, right? We're going to line it up from high powers, highest to lowest, okay? Including the terms with a coefficient of 0. What does that mean? If there's a missing term, like you all of a sudden skip from x cubed to x, you're missing an x squared, you got to add a 0x squared in there. So you're not missing anything, okay? Next, you're going to write the divisor in standard form as well. And then you're going to divide the same way you would when dividing numbers. So those are the same steps. And then depending on the question, there are two ways to write the answer. And here they are again. Remember, there's two ways to write the answer. And here is the first example that we're going to try using this method. And so step one is to write the answer using the dividend inside the brackets. So we got 2x squared plus 10x plus 12 inside. And then we're going to write the divisor outside, so that's x plus 3. The first thing we're going to do is actually compare. So we're going to divide x times what gives me 2x squared. So I need to think x times what gives me 2x squared. Well, I need to multiply by 2 and an x. And I'm going to put that in like the second term here because there are two terms. So I'm going to just, write it over two terms. So I know when to stop when I get to the end. Excuse me. And we're going to, multiply that by 2x, and we're going to distribute the answer now. So 2x times x gives me 2x squared. 2x times 3 gives me 6x. And I'm going to subtract, right? Just like good old days. So subtracting means I'm going to change the bottom row to opposite signs. And that makes the x squares disappear. I've got 10 minus 6, which is 4x. And then the next step in the division process is to bring down the 12. So I'm going to bring down the 12, and now I'm going to think x times what gives me 4x. I need 4, right? So it's going to be plus 4. Again, I'm going to multiply by distributing that 4 into both terms here. So 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 3 is 12. And again, I'm going to subtract the next step. So I'm change the signs in the both bottom row. So that will disappear, and the 12s will disappear. I have a remainder of 0. So I can rewrite the answer here as 2x plus 4 times the divisor, which is x plus 3, plus the remainder of 0. So that's how I can write. That's one of the methods. So they are asking you specifically to multiply the divisor by the quotient. So actually, let me put the divisor first. So that's x plus 3, and then 2x plus 4 plus remainder. So that's divisor times quotient plus remainder. And that is the format that we're going to write it in. Okay? And now we're going to try another one together. So again, the first step is to write the dividend inside the bracket. So 5x squared minus 17x minus 12, and the divisor outside. First step again is to compare x times what gives me 5x squared. So I need a 5 and an x, and I'm going to distribute that. So 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 4 is negative 20x. I'm going to subtract next by changing the signs on the bottom. The x squares will cancel out, and that gives me 3x. And then the next step is to bring down the 12. And what do I need to multiply to get from x to 3x? Well, that's a 3, right? Plus 3. So I'm going to distribute that through now. So we have 3x, and then 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. I'm going to subtract by changing the signs on the bottom, and the x and numbers cancel out, so we got a 0 remainder. So again, I'm going to write the answer as divisor, which is x minus 4, times quotient, which is 5x plus 3, plus the remainder, which is 0. And that's the answer right there. We're going to try another one that has a higher degree than the x squared now. So we're going to get into, like, the longer problem. So let's start by writing the dividend in standard form inside. So notice that we have the dividend going from 3, 2 to 1 to 0 to power. So that's what we mean by standard form, and make sure that we don't skip any of the variables, okay? So next we have x squared plus 3x plus 1. And we're going to compare the first terms again. How do I go from x squared to 4x to the third? So what am I missing? I am missing 4 and an x, right? So now we're going to distribute that to every term. So that's 4x times x squared. That gives me 4x to the third. 4x times 3x gives me 12x squared. 4x times 1 gives me 4x. Next, I'm going to subtract. Remember, I need to change all of the signs in the bottom. The x cubes would cancel out. We got negative 10x squared minus x left. That is the next step, correct? And then we would bring down the 5. Again, I need to compare now between x squared and negative 10x squared. What do I need to do to get there, right? So I need to multiply by a negative 10, correct? So I need negative 10, and now I am going to distribute that 10 through every term again. So that would be 10 negative 10x squared minus 30x and minus 10. And again, I'm going to subtract by changing all the signs on the bottom. The x squares will cancel out. That leaves me 29x plus 15. And since I don't have any more to divide, to bring down, that would be my remainder, right? So I'm going to write the answer as in divisor, which is x squared plus 3x plus 1 times the quotient, which is 4x minus 10, plus the remainder, which is 29x plus 15. And that is the answer we have in the format they want. We're going to have you try one right now. So go ahead and try this problem and see if you know how to do this before you look at the answer. Hopefully you've already tried it. And let's set up the problem. We've got 6x to the 4th plus 5x to the cube. And right here, you should notice that there is no x squared term. It's missing. So we're going to fill it in with a 0x squared plus 2x plus 8. And we have x squared plus 2x minus 5 outside as the divisor. And again, we're going to look at the first terms and say, what do we need? So we need a 6x squared, correct? So we got 6x squared, and I'm going to put it on top of the third term because there are 3 terms here. And so we're going to distribute. That would be 6x to the 4th plus 12x cubed, and then minus 30x squared. I'm going to subtract everything and changing the signs on the bottom row. So the x to the 4th would cancel out. We have a negative 7x cubed plus 30x squared. So notice that we put that x squared there so that we know we're going to get an x squared term. So that's why we need it there. Next thing, we're going to bring down the 2x, and then we need to find what we need to multiply next. Okay, so we're going to need a negative 7 and an x. So we're going to distribute again by multiplying, so that we're going to get negative 7x to the 3rd minus 14x squared, and then plus 35x. I'm going to subtract by changing the signs again, and that will cancel out the x cubes. We got 44x squared minus 33x, and the next step is to bring down the 8. And so next thing, I need to multiply by 44, and then we're going to distribute that through. So we have 44x squared minus 88x and minus 220. I'm going to subtract by changing all the signs again. Cancels out the x squares, and we actually have a remainder. I'm going to write it right here. Remainder is going to be I forgot to change the signs here to a negative. And yeah, because 44 times 2 is 88 positive, but I need to change that sign now. So we have a negative 121x and then plus 228 as the remainder. So I'm going to write the answer like right here. It's going to be the remainder, the divisor, which is x squared plus 2x minus 5 times the quotient, which is right there. 6x squared minus 7x plus 44, and then plus the remainder, which is over here, which is just a minus 121x plus 228. This right here is the complete answer for this problem. You have 2 more problems that you're going to try, so go ahead and pause the video and try it before you look at the answers. So here we have a division problem. Let's go ahead and set up 15x cubed. And again, I noticed that the x squared is missing, so I'm going to line it up with a 0x squared plus 8x minus 12. And then we have 3x squared plus 6x plus 1. It's kind of ugly, but okay. So now first thing we need to look at is 3 times what is 15x cubed, right? So we need a 5 and an x. So we're going to actually distribute that through. So it's going to give me 15x to the third. 5x times 6x is 30x. And then 5x times 1 is just 5x. Changing signs to subtract again, it's going to give me negative 30x plus 3x. And then I'm going to bring down the minus 12. And I need a negative 10. And this is the x squared. Negative 10. So I'm going to distribute that through. So I have negative 30x squared minus 60x, and then a minus 10. I'm going to change signs again, everything to the opposite. X squares will cancel out. I've got 63 x minus 2. And so I'm going to write the answer here. It's equal to divisor, which is 3x squared plus 6x plus 1 times the quotient, which is 5x minus 10, and then plus the remainder, so that's plus 63x minus 2, and that's the final answer for this problem here. And we're going to do the last one here. Again, we're going to set it up, and there's no term, actually we have an x term missing, so 9x to the fourth plus x cubed plus 11x squared plus 0x minus 4, and then outside we got x squared, and notice that we are missing a 0x term, so plus 16. First thing, I'm missing a 9, and it's 3 terms, so it's 9, and then I'm missing x squared, so I'm going to distribute that through. So I should have 9x to the 4th plus 0 x cubed, and that will be, the last term here is 144, so it's plus 144 x squared, and I'm going to change signs, and that's going to be gone for the x fourth. So I have actually just 1 x cubed minus 133 x squared. I'm bringing down the 0x here. It's right here. And I only need an x, so it's plus x here. I'm going to distribute that x through everything. So I've got x to the third plus 0x squared, and then plus 16x, right? And changing signs. We got x cubed gone. We got negative 133x squared minus 16x, and then I have one more number to bring down. That's a minus 4. So I need a negative 133 Okay, so that's negative 133x squared plus 0x, and then that would be a minus 2128. And then changing signs, I will cross the x squares out, and we got negative 16x, and then we have a plus 2124 as the remainder. And I'm going to write the answer, let's see over here. That's the divisor, which is x squared plus 16 times the quotient, which is 9x squared plus x minus 133, and the remainder is minus 16x plus 2124. Quite long of a problem, right? That one. So we are done trying all the problems, and here is a discussion problem. How can you tell if you are finished solving a polynomial division problem? Well, it's pretty much you wait until when your divisor actually has a less degree, right here, higher degree than the remainder. So that's how you can tell when you're finished. And also you have no more terms to bring down, right? So that's how you can tell. And that's the end of lesson day 1. And go ahead and log into Google Classroom for your assignment. Have a nice day.